and or educate, okay, well, it's going to cost X, or we need to do this, we need to do that, et cetera, and go from there. But I think that's the biggest lesson I guess I could pass along is remember who signs your checks.
Let's maintain that turf today. Get up and brush off the dew on that turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Cut it and roll that dew on that turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Set up, they about to come through on that turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Get up. Turf today. Get up. Let's get out the way. Here comes first play. Let's maintain that turf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Turf Today. My name is Adam Kershane, joined by my co-host Brian Laurent, and we are very excited about this one. We've got Jeff Markow with us, who's been the superintendent at Cypress Point for the last 32 years. That's 3 decades looking after one of the most beautiful and historic courses in our game. Today we'll talk about his career, some of the amazing people that he's met through his career, and what it's been like to take care of a property as special as Cypress Point. This is going to be a really fun conversation, everyone, so let's get into it. As you guys know, Turf Today is recorded on the Superintendent Network and is brought to you by Toro. When the sun comes up, your course is already one step ahead. Toro's autonomous mowing solutions are designed to give turf managers more time, more precision, and more consistency. With cutting-edge technology, Toro helps you maintain championship quality while freeing your crew to focus on what matters most. Always solving, always evolving. That comes through well. So last week was a bit of a big one. I had a lot of people reaching out. I don't know if you had some comments or anybody chatting to you about Sean.
Yeah, a lot of, folks that have listened to it got a lot out of it. Definitely a phenomenal episode. I mean, I keep going back to it myself and listening to it and continue to hear something that I didn't hear before and jot down some new ideas. So yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I was the same way. I don't usually listen to the whole show in post-production. You do the editing and then you'll go back and listen to a few things here and there. But that was one where I was like, I am listening to this beginning to end on the golf course. It was so
Yeah,
cool. I think, yeah, every time you listen to it, you could take something from it.
yeah. I mean, that's one that I'm going to have on repeat on a very regular basis just to get some reminders.
Yeah, and he's so great too. Like he said at the end of the show, reach out to me, ask me questions. He's
Yeah.
always available to people. He wants to help. He talked about that as well. He found something that could really help people that he was good at. So, he put all his eggs in that basket, and it's been very beneficial for a lot of people. Might be somebody we see more of down the road.
Yeah, I sure hope so. And I mean, I told you I literally just got off of a Zoom call with him a little bit ago, and he said the response he's gotten has been tremendous. He said he's had so many people reach out to him, when they saw his name pop up on the show, that just the distribution on our end and the amount of people that we've reached and promoted through our end, he said he's got a lot of positive feedback from outside of our industry. So that's awesome to hear.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
Yes, sir.
So, switching gears, had to ask you, this episode's going to come out next week, which is Ryder Cup week. So, do we have any predictions or are you feeling any different at all?
I'll be 100% honest, Adam. It's my favorite event. I have had zero time to look at anything for this event, barely know who's on the squads, but Team Europe is usually the underdog on paper, but year after year after year, I guess every other year, they just keep showing up and they bond as a team. And for some reason, that team unity tends to really show itself on the golf course. So I'm hoping Team USA, with Keegan's leadership, who I think has done a great job of of creating unity amongst the, what, 12 guys on the squad. And I think they all want to play for Keegan, which makes a world of difference. So, um, I'm expecting it to be wild.
Oh yeah, awesome venue at Bethpage and two very
Yeah.
good teams. And I like the way you put that. There's a lot of attention to how good of a team Europe always is, how well they gel, they fly together, they stay together, they do all that stuff, and that they are,
Yeah.
like a true sports team. So I think with the amount of people talking about that, I hope that the Americans are doing something about that to try and get together before, whether it's, this weekend leading up or doing something together or trying to stay together and create more of that camaraderie. Because yeah, it's going to be electric. The betting lines are very tight. Like it's kind of anybody's game. You usually think that the home team, has that home field advantage or home course advantage, but I think it's going to be pretty exciting this year. So it could come down to some pretty fun matches and great matchups too with the golfers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't wait. Like I said, it's my favorite sporting event, not just golf event. It's my favorite sporting event. So I can't wait to settle in and watch the action on TV. So it's gonna be a blast. And yeah, I mean that place is just gonna be electric,
Hmm.
electric. So hopefully guys don't, the fans don't take it too far. Hopefully everyone's respectful and, root for your side, but don't make it about the fans, make it about the players. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm pumped.
Yeah, well, things
A
got
little bummed
rowdy.
I won't be there, but I'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it would have been a tough one to make, and just even finding a place to stay down there would have been wild too. So,
Yeah. I would
but
have rented a camper van and parked it at the maintenance shop. Like that
yeah,
would have
that would have been the
that would
play
have been my
probably.
go-to.
That's going to be really good. Our guest today, you were just down at Cypress Point a couple weeks ago for the Walker Cup. We're getting to talk to Jeff Markow, who is a legend in the industry. He's over 30 years at Cypress Point, and we're not too sure what's up with him for his future, but we'll get to talk to him and somebody that you know as well. So that's really good.
Yeah. Been at Cypress Point for 30, I think 30 some years, I believe it, 32 years maybe. Um, I've met him a couple times along the way. Again, just relationships with my dad. He served on Pennsylvania Turfgrass Council with my father, um, and just um, can't say it enough. Just what a good human being he is. And I've got a great question for him. I asked him a certain question a couple years back when I did my first site visit with him and interview with him. But you see these clubs that are so prestigious, right? And exclusive and all that kind of stuff. And I think people have a perception of the type of person that's at those facilities. And Jeff is probably the furthest thing away from exclusive, uptight, any of that stuff. He is like the most humble, outgoing, welcoming person you could ever imagine. And he found a great fit for himself at Cypress, which is why I think he's lasted there so long. Because when you get past, all your preconceived notions of what Cypress Club is, once you're on property, it's about as welcoming of an environment as you could possibly imagine for a top three club in the world.
I mean, you only hear nothing but good things. People call it a cathedral, and Alistair Mackenzie course from back in the 20s, and all the different types of terrain that they have there with the
It's
peninsula and the
magical.
cliffs and the
It
forest.
is
And
magical.
like, I've never been there, obviously. I've only ever played it on the video game, but it's a fun course to be at. And like, fuck you. When I talked to you, you were kind of like, yeah, this is a magical place to be. So getting to work there for 30 years and run a crew and be a part of that whole Pebble Beach area, because they have like, what, 7 or 8 properties down there?
Hey, Jeff,
Hey,
Jeff.
how are you?
doing great. How are you?
I don't have this fancy background as you guys do. I better put up a black screen or something.
I don't know. I think yours looks pretty good there. I see a few pretty special pictures on the wall back there,
Oh
Jeff.
yeah, I'll move it around. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There
Plus,
we
you have
go.
a beautiful golf course behind you too, so there is that.
So you getting back from some well-deserved time away here?
Yeah, snuck out to Minnesota to see daughter and some friends, so it was nice. And it was it's nice to get out and get away, but still a little sleep deprived.
Sure, you
But
connected with, yeah, with some friends out there, and you're still catching up from the Walker Cup for sure. So,
yeah, it's such a short event though. It's great.
well, but let's not understate all the preparation that goes into it. I mean, it's
Yeah,
while the
no, it
event
was
itself was only 2 days plus some practice rounds. I mean, it's
yeah.
years and months of planning and organizing. So that
So
wears on you.
that's what we want people to believe, but that's not the truth. But no, we just winged it
Oh,
together that weekend. So
yeah, well, you did a good job. You faked it and you made it. So
yeah,
that's
no, and I
yeah,
appreciate all your support and help too with the
yeah,
Yeah,
no.
it
guys.
was fun to get to talk to Brian. We did a podcast. Brian was actually in your turf parking lot in his car, and just getting to hear about everybody that was there and the tournament itself, the golf course itself was pretty cool. So, tell us a little bit about the tournament and having so many of your friends and supporters in helping you with that.
Well, Brian, we would have let you in the shop. I mean, I don't know why you had to stay out in the parking lot. I mean, we didn't banish you. You could
It
have come
made for
inside.
some good content, so don't worry.
You no, you didn't. I took it upon myself because, coming and going and, people watching football or golf or whatever, I do my best to stay out of the way.
No, that's fine. It was a lot of fun. It was a little hectic and it went too quick as always, but great to see some old friends. That's how the volunteer list started. As I just went back to all the interns and students and assistants that have been here previously and gave them first shot, so to speak, to come and volunteer, and it filled up rather quickly, which was nice. A lot of guys made a big effort to travel and come, and so it was most appreciated. And we all look a little different than we did 30 years ago. So but it was easy to recognize most of them. So a lot of fun, a lot of fun. Too quick, it just disappeared.
You obviously don't get that opportunity, Jeff, to host things like that. So how cool is it to be able to provide that opportunity to everyone, all your friends and former assistants and whatnot?
I think that was the unique part is that because it's such a, I mean, it was the last time I was here was 81, 1981. So,
Wow.
and the next time it'll be here, most of us will be dead. So, um, but it's neat because of the format, I think, and that the people get to walk with the groups, in the fairways. It's a very small crowd, restricted crowd, um, and a lot of time for the people and the volunteers to spend, on the golf course and watching golf and again, because of the unique format and the small field. Other big events, they've got a big preparation in the morning and then the place is full and then they got to come back out in the afternoon and another big preparation. And here they could just kind of hang out, walk around, have some lunch and go watch some golf. And there wasn't a lot of afternoon work to do in between the matches because of the format. So I think that was the fun part is that it was completely different than a major or an open or anything like that for most people.
It sounds like a good situation. You get to be
Yeah,
there and be a part of it. It's only a 2-day tournament and there's not a lot of afternoon stuff, so nobody's
correct.
dying from not going to sleep, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly. Or going back in that, shuttling them back to the hotel or wherever, and they get to sleep and then get back out there at 4 in the afternoon. So I
Let's
think that's the most unique part or fun part.
let's be real. There were plenty of guys out there that were dying from not getting enough sleep, but it had nothing to do with the workload that you put on them. So
The
That is true. Well,
extracurriculars.
we expected that.
that's why you had plenty of people sitting in the bullpen ready to go in case someone
Yeah,
didn't show, right?
yeah. No, again, that was I'm America's worst volunteer, so I can appreciate what they did. Um, but it was just great having friends here and haven't seen them for a while, and especially some of the guys that have been here previously.
Well,
So
before we get too far down the line here with you, Jeff, we always like to open these shows up with allowing our guests just to give us a brief overview of who you are, how you found this business, and got to where you are.
kind of started way back in high school. I was washing dishes at a golf course and behind the house, a little 9-hole spot. And next summer they say, "Hey, we need somebody outside," and I said, "Sure." I had no clue what we were doing, but um, uh, a little one greens mower that you walked for mow the 9 holes, that kind of operation. So um, From there, they made the mistake of then telling me I could take over the following season. And so, so there were two of us, and it was just kind of it was a great summer job, to be honest. You get a free tan, and and then went to Minneapolis. Moved up to Minneapolis for college, and like any proper college student, you don't have a class until at least 11 or 12 o'clock in the morning. There's no reason for early classes, so I'd go mow tees at Minneapolis Golf Club in the mornings and work there in the summer for about 4 years, and graduated from college. And there wasn't really a lot of work in my chosen field. And my superintendent at the time said, "Hey, why don't you go into this business? You've done okay so far." And so ended up going to Penn State for a couple years and went back to Minnesota. And there were no jobs really. I mean, you waited for somebody to do the musical chairs, and then the assistants would move and move and move. So, but the desert was booming. Southern California, Palm Springs area was exploding with golf course construction. A lot of Minnesota guys were headed that direction. So I jumped on the train and went west, young man. Uh, and it was a great experience. A lot of young people starting families. Great to call your friends in Minnesota on Christmas and say, "Hey, what are you doing? We're sitting by the pool having vodka grapefruits in the sun." And they're in the snow. So went to the Vintage Club as an assistant superintendent, and then went to PJ West and construction superintendent when Landmark Land owned the properties. Worked for some great people, Lee Schmidt and Jeff Pritchard, and then DJ Pacala at the Vintage. And then he left. I went back to the Vintage Club as superintendent. It's a 36-hole private facility, very nice facility. And so, and just lucked out. I got on a list due to a consultant that was working with Nicholas organization at the time and was at Nicholas Private and PGA West, and got on the list for Cypress and weaseled my way in. And here we go. And now it's 32 years later, which is crazy. We're going to step down in March and do something else. So that's the quick version.
What a journey.
But
It's awesome.
yeah, yeah, it's been fun.
And
It's a little loony out here, but it's okay. Yeah, California's a little strange.
keeps you on your toes, eh? It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, just yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's
so
common. We do hear from a lot of people that go to school for something and realize, I don't want to do this. I enjoy my golf course job. Why don't I pursue this? Take us back to that decision, maybe who was around you, some of the influences, and why you ultimately decided to go back to school to pursue turf.
I think it was more because this was early 80s, 80, 81, somewhere. We had a federal hiring freeze. I was going to biological sciences. I wanted to go to, work for DNR or fisheries or something. And there just wasn't job availability. So I continued to work at the golf course and liked being outside, and um, realized I probably didn't want to be in an office or any kind of confined space. And, you're 20, couple few years old. You can do whatever you want at that point. You don't have any responsibility. So my superintendent, Mark Smith at Minneapolis Golf Club, was the one who said you should really contemplate going to school for this at Penn State, and that's how it started. And then once the desert came and the construction experience and all the experiences there, it's like it cemented that, yeah, we made the right decision. So,
I want to know, anytime we get guys that have gone through Dr. Dewich's program, we always get some great stories. Do you have any good Dr. Dewich stories?
oh boy, you're jogging an old memory now, my brain. It's a lot of cobwebs up there. No, that's when you could still smoke in the classroom, I think. And I think the one I liked was he second day maybe in this class. He said, "Look to your left, look at the guy on the right." He said, "In 5 years, two of you won't be in this business." So that was the advice he was giving us. Because but um, he was a pioneer developing the bent grasses, and so he's well respected, and taught us some life lessons, made us take an etiquette class, where you had to learn how to set a table, proper place settings, this and that. And so that because he knew that you would be sitting in a boardroom or sitting not in a boardroom, in a clubhouse with members, and wanted to make sure you didn't tuck the napkin under your chin in your shirt, and you knew if you had three forks on the side which
Unless you're
one.
eating lobster or seafood, right?
Yeah, exactly. But he which was kind of unique. I had, you go into turfcraft school and golf courses and you're taking an etiquette class, but it helped because, you're young. You don't know what some of this stuff is for. So
So you obviously see a lot of young people come through your program there with interns and assistants and whatnot. That education, that sort of outside the box thinking that Dr. Deutsch brought to your education, is that something you see missing from this new generation?
not necessarily. I think it's just changed a lot with communications and the phones and everything else. So um, I no, I think the guys coming out are probably a little more prepared because of the amount of information that's available. We're looking it up in textbooks. There wasn't any computer, there wasn't anything. You're recopying your notes at the end of the day to try and remember stuff. So I think they're probably coming out a little more prepared because the technology has gone so far compared to the dinosaur era where you had a soil probe, which was the best tool you could have.
So do
And
you
now you've got moisture meters that read your smartphone. So I think they're better off. Etiquette wise, I haven't seen any problems there.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's good. Well,
uh,
we definitely want to ask you about your assistants and interns and stuff like that today. I guess the first question, just we're on the topic of school. Do you think it's better that younger people go to school right away to get into this industry, or do you think getting some, different education or just some, on-the-job experience is better to do first?
I think it would be better if they worked on a golf course, maybe got some experience somewhere else. In fact, Penn State really wasn't big on, he wouldn't, not wouldn't let them come, but refrained from having kids right out of high school. They wanted people with some college experience. And maybe for that very reason that, hey, I don't want to do what I've chosen. I really want to do this. So I think it's better if they get some experience, maybe travel, work on a golf course somewhere else, and get those experiences because as everybody knows, once you get older, life changes, you get responsibilities, family, whatever, and that time is done. So I would strongly recommend it. We do to the interns that come through. We've had a lot from the Ohio State program, Michael Keith, and where they get 6 months and they get 6 months and then they, have a month of freedom and then they have to go back. But it's go out and get as wide a variety of experience as you can while you're young. So then you can make a thoughtful decision on where you want to be, especially area of the country. Do you want to work, 365, or do you want to work for 6 months for 90 hours a week and then have some time off? So um, I think that's an important thing for them as well. So,
How important is it for the young people to find a quality mentor? And how much of the decision-making process on where to go should revolve around finding that person they can lean on or learn from?
I think I think that would be important, but there's so many good guys out there in the industry right now. I mean, top notch, well more advanced than us dinosaurs because of the technology. So uh
You're
the
too humble, Jeff, man. You don't give
yeah,
yourself enough credit.
I to have that information, to have that technology, it's going to make a better superintendent. But there's a lot of good young guys out there. So I think it wouldn't be too hard to find a good mentor. Um, as much as where do you want to be too. You need to establish yourself or bounce around until you decide where to go and then look around and find a mentor. But I think it just helps, get your feet wet and go from there.
So working at Cypress for over 30 years, obviously had some good interns and assistants come through here. We have a lot of those types of people that listen to the show. I would love for you to talk a little bit about some of the really good qualities that you like in your interns and your assistants.
Yeah, we have been very fortunate. We've had a great group come through, and I think it's um just it is California. Don't come in too wrapped up too tight. The East Coast guys, we got to decompress them when they come out here because they're used to that they're used to that.
There's a waiting period until they can come out there, right? Like,
Yeah, they work the hardest. I mean, I'm not slighting others, but some of those, where the seasons and the weather, you're spot on for a long time. So out here, it's a 20, we're open 364 days. We close on Christmas. It's the only day. So you can't get tied up with 10, 12-hour days. You'll burn out. And there's really no need for it due to the climate. But I think it's important when they, to balance work and family and life, get away from the golf course, do something else. It can't be your sole focus. It can be your sole focus for a little bit, but you need to get away from the golf course and do other things. Well-rounded individuals, they'll survive better in the business. So that's the best I can give them. So just take the time, smell the roses.
well,
Take,
there's no better place to smell the roses than where you are, that's for sure. But
yeah.
um,
So yeah, enjoy your
you,
time.
you mentioned, some of the challenges the guys on the East Coast, Mid-Atlantic, or whatever they face, and the unique climate you have there. Talk a little bit about your environment there at Cypress Point and maybe some of the challenges that you do see from an agronomic perspective.
Yeah, again, those guys, they're the rock stars in the Southeast, and they grow big bugs down there. So they've got the desert, it's 120 degrees. So I mean, I've been there. So there's a lot of areas of the country that have challenges. So ours, it's not really as much a challenge um, as the marine layer is just so unpredictable. You can be, 59, 61 degrees in July. You're spraying for pink snow mold, and it's like this isn't
Wow.
right. This isn't
What?
correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not treat, but we manage pink snow mold almost year round, except for a couple warm periods because it's just wet, damp. That's the biggest thing is the pole loves it. It's like growing in a greenhouse. Um, Irrigation ETs, TMI is in July are like 0.03. So, so there's just we're not chasing wilt at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in July. You can't see 200 yards. So that's where some of the work-life balance is easier for us because there's just no need. We're not working 10, 12-hour days. There's absolutely no need for it. So they have to adjust to that sometimes when the guys come out for his internships. They want to work, 70, 80 hours work week to make money. Well, we give them advance warning that that won't happen uh, so that they can, plan. And maybe it's not a spot they want to come. We try not to take interns in the wintertime because there's just nothing really to do. That's our rainy season. We might be painting things in the shop or fixing bunkers that are washed out. So it's not a great educational experience for them. And so we try and limit, not limit, but utilize more of the spring, summer, fall internships. Just again, due to the climate.
Yeah, it
It's
makes
it's
sense, and that's
strange.
smart. You want to try and put the
It's
best
strange.
situation in front of them, right? When they're
Yeah,
there.
exactly. It's like you're not going to gain a lot during that time. Plus, it's the storm surges and things. It's not a good time to learn how to surf in that time of year. Summer, sure, but if they want to learn how to surf, don't come in the winter.
Well-rounded. That's good.
Well-rounded, yeah, efficient too. But yeah, it's just unique. It's beautiful and sunny. Fog pulls in, and half a mile away over at Pebble, their 15th hole is in the sun, and we're
Wild.
visibility of 200 yards maybe.
Fall isn't the end of the season, it's where next year begins. As the turf recovers from summer stress, it needs strength, resilience, and foundation to thrive through winter and explode next spring. That's where Apex 10 comes in. With organic carbon, powerful microbial activity, and improved nutrient efficiency, Apex 10 builds deeper roots, stronger soil, and healthier turf right when it matters most. Don't just put your course to bed for the winter, set it up for success. This fall, elevate your turf with Apex 10. You mentioned earlier you put your name on the list for Cypress. When you do get the job or you're going to interview for the job, what was it like stepping on that property for the first time? Was there anything that kind of stuck out to you?
Yeah, no, I was fortunate that I didn't put myself, but they luckily got on that list of 10, and then they whittled it down. But yeah, it was very. I had been up here before and actually was had a I applied for Spyglass Hill when it became open many years prior. And so I had a vision or had been to the area. The property itself was really unique coming from the desert. That's all phony down there. It's all fake rock and flowers and all that stuff. So and this was more natural, rugged. Um, uh, Again, the change from the desert or where it was at the Vintage Club with the manicuring and stuff to the natural scenes and letting things go was great. I mean, it's a little bit of a culture shock, but it fit the property. Um, and I vividly remember standing on the 15th tee saying, if they offer this job, we're out. We're coming. So, and luckily lucked out, and it's been a wonderful ride. It's just a neat piece of property as many people saw, especially with the drone video now. We didn't have that back then. You didn't get to see that kind of view. Um, but it's just a beautiful piece of property. It won't ever happen again in California with the regulations and things. So,
Mm,
uh,
Yeah.
interesting.
so
So 30 some plus years later, Jeff, when you still walk out on the 15, do you get a lot of those same emotions as the first time you walked on
oh,
the
sure,
property?
yeah. It's just especially if it's sunny. It's like uh, it's beautiful. It's like you see different things every day. There's an otter out there in the middle cracking a shell on his belly, and the seals, harbor seals, and the wildlife. And every now and then you find a half a deer carcass in the middle of the fairway. That means mountain lion, but you don't get them too often. But or the deer are fighting in the middle of the fairway during rut like they're doing now.
Yeah.
So
I had a staring contest with a seal out on 15, just standing there. We were just eyeing each other up for about 5 minutes. It was great.
yeah, he's looking at you going, "Get off of my lawn." I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What are you doing
he's
on my
pulling
property?
he's pulling an Eastwood on you and say, "Get
Yeah.
get off of my lawn." So it's just a beautiful, beautiful place. Beautiful.
I
It's
think
great.
I think that Sunday morning, it was almost like March Madness, where productivity levels go way down. That Sunday morning of the Walker Cup was crystal clear in the morning. You had the reflection of the moon off the ocean. I probably counted 30 guys on the crew standing around just kind of admiring the scenery. So I
Yeah.
was happy to see that the course was ready because they were definitely a lot of people sitting there admiring that view.
Yeah, that's a moon set. You don't see, you get a few of those, but everybody thought, man, is that the sun? No, 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 that's the moon going down and lit the place up. So we told everybody, go get out there, get a picture.
Yeah.
It happens once in a while. So anyway, it was just a great fun event and with a great group of people. And I've got a staff that, you know, a lot of them have been with us for 30 years, 25, 30 years. Have hired them all, and they're rock solid. That's what carries everybody, and that's what your crew is everything. It's not a one-man job. It's not, the assistants are great, but when it comes down to it, it's everybody involved and everybody doing their job and enjoying their job.
You've
So
you you've got a very unique way, whether it's I think it just kind of happened by accident, but the way you develop your staff is very unique. You probably have what, 20 some guys and 18 of them are probably all related.
yes, exactly. We have two families. So that's how we, kept filling. It's like, hey, do you have a brother? Do you have a son? Okay, and then we're having the
Nice.
sons now. We're working for with dad. And one season we had grandpa, dad, and son on
Three
the
generations.
group.
That's
Yeah,
so
three
cool.
generations, and son couldn't keep up with grandpa.
Oh, never. Never. It's got to set the
No.
tone.
Yep.
Any
So
any
they were
family battles work their way from personal life onto the property?
not too much, a little bit earlier. Some of the younger guys, they might get a little tuned up and have a spat, but it was always off property. And as they grew up, that went away, but nothing on property because we told them that's stays at the gate. You don't
Right.
like somebody, don't talk to them, don't say anything, all right, fine, but don't start anything here. Standard stuff.
So asking you here about Cypress, is there something, that if people haven't been to the course or know much about the course, just something that's kind of unique to your property?
I'm trying to think. There's nothing really necessarily unique. I think just dealing with the weather, the fog, and sometimes the salt spray and things like that. It's pretty normal for coastal courses. We don't do anything unusual, again, besides treating for snow mold year round. Um, so I'm trying to think. It's just a pole bent grass golf course. Nothing fancy. We don't manicure. We don't trim edges too much. It kind of let the course be itself. The dunes are great. They are some a maintenance item, but the way he routed things from the woods back to the dunes and back and forth was it's part of it. So I don't think there's anything special we do that the other guys don't. In fact, there's a lot of things they do that we probably don't do, just because it doesn't necessarily fit the golf course.
So that's
Um,
maybe the answer then is you guys maybe lay
yeah,
off a little bit and kind of keep things a little more naturalized, a little more rough around the edges, because that's kind of the design of the course and what people want, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's like we're not trying to kill every weed. We've got call it Heinz 57 varieties of turf grasses out there. There's everything in the
That's
book
good.
is out there somewhere. Um, and so it's probably unique in that way where it's natural, rugged, left to its own devices sometimes, except for playing surfaces. And even there, we try and run it firm and fast as best we can in the season. We're okay with a little off color here and there. Brilliant green everywhere is not desired. Um, so I think that's maybe the only thing we try and do, as others do. Again, firm and fast, less water.
You mentioned, I'm glad you brought up the dunescape. How much goes into keeping those perfectly imperfect?
More now, we've been doing some cleaning, taking out some invasive species and ice plant and stuff like that. So it's just a constant battle because there are some, and maybe the next irrigation system is to pinch down some of the irrigation along the edges. So you're always a little overspray there, cleaning up edges, grass growing, and then rains come, and hopefully they don't wash the dunes down. Well, you got to put them back up, but then you develops a whole nother round of growth. So it's really just cleaning and trying. And a lot of it's by hand because you really can't put machines up in there. So it's having a little dedicated crew that we're building to kind of keep an eye on them. And I don't think a perfectly pristine, dune is what we're looking for either. I think you want some of that growth and other stuff to make it look like you're not, make it look more natural than manicuring it.
One of the things people talk about a lot right now in our industry is the innovation, the technology taking over. I know you mentioned the moisture meter and some of the things that have changed in your career. Is there some things you guys have adopted recently or maybe are going to be adopting that you're pretty excited about?
We're staying up with the technology. Again, my assistant's probably more than I, as that's going to be their world. Not that I don't like the technology, but it's going to be more important for data collection now with all the tools that are available. Um, we've got the TDRs, we've got the Deacon, we've got the USGA Moisture, their newest model. We've got the G3 ball. So we're all that together is great. I still like the old stimp meter for accuracy, but that's just me. And so I think you could get to, however, if people, what am I trying to say? With the data collection, that then it becomes does it become a competition, or do Green's chairman and other people get a hold of it, and then they're using, well, this guy down the street, his data is here and here and here, when it could be completely different conditions, budgets, etc. So, what do they call that? Paralysis by analysis. You know, well, is there too much data? Is there too much data collection? Is there too much importance put on that number? I think each course is different. Each budget is different. What they can do. So if it becomes a comparison thing, then that could, I could see problems there. So it's a roundabout way of saying, each place needs to decide what they're going to do. We've been using the task tracker, which is great for employees, and but get out there and go on the golf course, stick a soil probe in the ground, and that will give you, that will help you along your way on your way.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist question featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from Colin. Why do fertilizer nutrient percentages appear different when they are the same product sold in different countries?
Well, thanks again, Adam, for having me on another show here this week. And again, thanks for another great question from our listeners out there. This one specifically from Colin. So yeah, fertilizer bags, they can definitely be a little confusing depending on, where you reside in the world. Here in the US specifically, we use an NPK labeling based on actual nitrogen and actual phosphate or P2O5 and potash as K2O or the equivalents of those. So other countries often label based on the elemental phosphorus and potassium amounts that's in a bag. That's where you end up seeing that difference. So an example might be you might see here in the US a product that's labeled as an 182412 because again, we're using that P2O5 and that K2O equivalent for measuring that 24 and that 12 units in the bag. But if you're somewhere like our listener here in Australia, it might be labeled like an 181010 over there in Australia, right? Because they are truly looking at the elemental phosphorus and the elemental potassium amounts in the bag. So it's not necessarily that the fertilizer is different. It's just a different reporting system, if you will. And, I think one that's all true to our hearts is if you think of, the metric system versus the imperial system, and certainly whether or not you have an opinion on that, at the end of the day, right, they're intended to give you the same exact measurement, just a different expression of the two. So that's ultimately kind of what you're looking at. But again, great question from Colin, and really appreciate you submitting that this week.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Thanks a lot, Colin. This wraps up another installment of Ask the Agronomist featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons.
One of the things, Jeff, that I've noticed as I travel the country and get to meet with a lot of different superintendents at clubs all over, I find that a club's culture tends to align very well with a successful superintendent and vice versa. A superintendent is much more successful when their personality, their beliefs align with the club's culture. How have you fit into the club's culture and how have you been able to stay there and what's kept you there for 32 years?
I guess I'd tell any intern coming in is for us, it's like, remember who signs your checks. Remember whose golf course this is. Guys will go, my golf course, I want to do this. I don't know, it's like, remember who signs your checks. So you guide them if they're going down a strange road, but ultimately it's what do the membership, what does the membership want? What is their desires for the golf course? And that'll be a mixed bag depending on the level of skill level. It's hard for higher handicappers to hit off a fairway mode at 300. So there's a balance there, but you need to listen to it. Hopefully there's a good greens committee and there's not, the benevolent dictator is the best if you can get that. So to where it's just a one-man deal, but and not a 20-person greens committee either. So I think that's the most important thing is for survivability is to ask them what do you want? What are your expectations for the golf course? And then go strive to provide that for them and or educate, okay, well, it's going to cost X or we need to do this, we need to do that, etc., and go from there. But I think that's the biggest lesson I guess I could pass along is remember who signs your checks.
So how have you been able to do that so successfully? Is it just boiled down to that? Remember who signs your checks and
Yeah,
adapt?
it's working with them and then trying there, there is some guidance as you try and not steer, let's say that's the wrong word, but their understanding of turf grass, what's their level of knowledge? Is it just because the course down the street is doing this that we should be doing it? Well, it could be a completely different process that we don't need to do or are already doing. So it's as much education for it to them as it is asking what their wishes and desires on, champagne taste on a beer budget. So there's a
Always.
little bit, yeah, there's a little bit of, I think education there that helps. And just be honest with them. It's like, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Well, we can do that, but it's going to cost this. And let them make the decision, not you. Try and let them make that not make, let them decide and make the decision to go whatever avenue that is versus the superintendent saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. It's as
I'm,
simple as I can put it.
I'm glad you brought up the education piece and working with with your membership because at Cypress Point, for your average member, that's probably, one of 7 or 8 golf courses that they're a member at. So
Mhm.
I'm sure, and again, I don't want you to say anything that's going to get you in trouble or get too far into the weeds, but how do you handle that when you have a member that comes and says, I just played XYZ course, they do it this way. Dive into a little more detail on the education and how you handle those conversations.
So we are very fortunate here. Also, is that they have a very respectful culture where if the member has a question or concern or whatever, he most of the time goes to the Greens chairman as the filter, and then to the superintendent. They don't really come directly to us, maybe with a question here and there, and they're often very complimentary of the golf course. So we're fortunate that we don't have that issue very often. Have had a great run of Greens chairmen that are knowledgeable because of that variety of clubs that they belong to and understand that you can't do things here that you would do in Texas or Florida or somewhere else. So it's kind of a built-in knowledge bank already, because they're very golf savvy, they understand golf, they enjoy it, the game, understand the game, and want to play the game on the ground, play firm and fast. And um, so it's been that part's been pretty easy. And then it's just provide them, if we're going to do a project and give them an analysis, you know, write it up and send it out to the committee and say, here's the plan, or sit down with your chairman, develop a plan, um, and go from there. So it's not a lot of work to do, but again, we're very fortunate with a great membership that understands a lot of the aspects of golf. And there's a few here we help them with, but for the most part, it's been a great ride and very few bumps in the road, which is great.
I'd be really interested to know, and I guess you can only really speak on your club, but I wonder if that relationship over time has gotten better. With all the education and people learning more about turf and learning more about what we actually do, I wonder if those relationships are getting better. I don't know if you can talk a little bit about that at all.
I would think so, only a personal opinion, just from, the elevation of the superintendent's position, and being more respected, I believe, at clubs, and because of the knowledge and what they can show, they can do, and the products, the product they provide for the membership. So I think that the status of the superintendent has been elevated by the education of members around the country, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it,
think
it
they're,
takes some time, but
it's not the guy in the barn, down in the barn anymore, riding a tractor. So
mhm.
they understand that it's a lot more involved. It's an actual business. It's a position, and the golf course is a business. So um, yeah, I think that's the best thing that's happened for our industry is more recognition of the value and the education and the what the superintendent actually has to do.
And Jeff, I've been very fortunate to spend a little bit of time with you out there over the last couple months and years. And the one thing that I have noticed, kind of along the lines of the education side, is you do have an opportunity and you do make a point to spend a lot of time on the first tee, and talking to members and guests and whatnot. How much has that been an advantage? How much has that helped you being able to stand on that first tee and have those conversations?
I think it's visibility too, try not to hide the office. You do that in the winter when it's raining. It's amazing the amount of paperwork that piles up, particularly
Lots of invoices to
oh
process
my
in the winter.
gosh, it's incredible. It's hours worth when it's raining. So, but visibility, visibility is important, and it's a chance for them to ask a question, or say, "Hey, the golf course is great," or "Hey, what happened over here?" Or "What do you guys? Are we going to do anything about that?" Or "What got any projects on the list?" So, again, they've got a little newsletter they send out, and trying to keep them apprised, but not too much information, you know. So that I think that's important to be visible. How's that?
It's great.
Drive, walk around, walk the golf course a little, drive around, wave at members and say hello, stop by and say hello, see how their day is going, and see what if there's anything they want us, they notice. They'll see things. I mean, there's guys that and ladies that play, every day sometimes for a stretch. So they're going to see a lot more than we're going to see, to be honest. If you're playing and walking it every day, we
Yeah.
don't. Our guys do it. They have their own little area. So
The other thing I noticed, Jeff, is that you do spend a lot of time serving as tour guide. Was that part of your job description 32 years ago? Is that
um,
something you
I, I
envisioned?
I expected a little bit of it because of my time at the Vintage too. The Vintage was a pretty special property, and but it's the complete opposite of Cypress in manicuring and the houses and the landscaping, the flowers. I mean, it's just complete. So, yeah, tour guide. It's been fun because people get to it's mostly and a lot of it's industry people or family and or friends of the guys. It doesn't take a lot of your time and most people are rather impressed with the golf course when they see it for the first time. So it's a lot of fun. You know, it it doesn't take a lot of your time.
It sounds like
Yeah.
you guys have a great situation down there. You boys can't hear it right now, but everybody listening just heard the big clap of lightning that just came through. I don't even call it a clap of lightning or a clap of thunder, but whatever. It was loud. So that just signals that we are starting our lightning round presented by Flash Weather AI. Your heads up before the skies light up. So Jeff, we got a few lightning round questions here for you. Just quick answers and should be fun. You ready?
Okay. Right.
Okay, here we go. So favorite turf grass to work with?
Bentgrass.
Bent grass. How many cups of coffee a day are you?
14. Just kidding.
Jeff loves his coffee.
Yes,
Before
sir.
anything happens when you show up there, we got to get
You
coffee.
like you like the coffee truck. You like the coffee truck at the event, right?
100%.
Yeah,
Beautiful
okay.
touch. Beautiful
All
touch.
If you could transplant a hole from your golf course into your backyard, which one would it be?
Probably be 15.
Mm-hmm.
Shorter par three.
I like it. Iconic.
Yeah.
That's my favorite out there too.
Yeah.
If you had a day off to play golf, would you go next door to Pebble or would you go next door to Spyglass?
Boy, that's tough. But they're both great. I've played both. I probably go Cypress.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good
there you go.
answer.
Play
Good
plates,
answer.
I love it. I love
Attaboy.
it.
I don't want to pick. They're both great golf courses and great guys running it. So I'm that's a landmine. I'm staying away.
Perfect. Perfect. Best wildlife sighting at Cypress.
It's probably the otters when they come up and they got a rock on their belly and they're cracking shellfish on it. And they're laying on their back in the water. So I'd probably say the otters.
Yeah, those guys are entertaining. You can watch them
Yeah.
all day. When you do put earbuds in or headphones on, are you listening to a podcast or do you got music going?
Classic rock and roll.
Nice, boy.
Rockers never die.
I love it. And the last one here. When you're all done a round of golf, what is your favorite drink?
A very ice cold beer.
Beautiful. Favorite brand?
Really haven't met one I don't like yet. So
That's a good problem.
Whatever's
to have.
closest and coldest.
Yeah.
a couple of those fruity tooty things, with raspberry and crap in them. But other than that, they're all pretty good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thanks for doing a lightning round with us today, Jeff. That's just a quick one we do sometimes there with Flash Weather AI. Out on the course, every decision counts. You can plan, you can prepare, but there's one thing you'll never control: the weather. Until now. Flash Weather AI doesn't just predict storms, it sees them coming, down to the minute, down to the exact corner of your property. Lightning, rain, heat, frost, you'll know before anyone else. This isn't a forecast, this is a foresight. This is real-time AI-powered protection for your team, your turf, and your tournament. Don't gamble with the sky, take control of it. Flash Weather AI, where precision meets power.
Yeah, what's thunder and lightning? I don't we don't we don't
Yeah,
see that.
that's true.
Yeah,
It's,
I don't.
we used to, we
So
miss it,
Does
you
that
know.
mean you guys go through like big time stretches where there's no rain at all?
So we haven't had rain since, let me check the calendar. April
Oh boy.
12th.
Wow. And you're not pumping
Yeah.
the water out of the ocean. So what's water management like down there for you guys? Are you sharing
So,
water with all the other courses too?
um, yeah, so I'll try and make this short. Several years ago, at least it's almost 25 years now. Uh, they started a reclamation plant for recycling water for use on the golf courses, so the golf courses could get off potable water because of the cost and the availability. So genius, forward thinking. So we all share a reclaimed water system, and it has a storage tank and a reservoir. So we can manage it as long as there's not a very hot, dry period where we could potentially run out of water or only have what they can produce in a day to use. So we manage it, we meet, we self-ration if needed, but it's very clean, very good water, RO treated. But then that saved a lot of water for the community. So it's a fantastic project. I would think that others would start to look at it and say, this is what we need to do. And I think they're doing that just because the water situation in California. But rainfall, wintertime, we hope we get some, October rain is a godsend, but usually November through March is our rainy period. And then after that, we can get some rains here and there, April and May, but it's very, not rare, but it's not a lot. So you manage it with irrigation.
So non-agronomically related, this is a question that I asked you a few years back when I first had the opportunity to sit down with you. You hear the stories of the supermodels who always, say they feel lonely because people are intimidated to come talk to them. Now that I know you, I know it couldn't be further from the truth. You're the most approachable human being I think I've ever met. But have you ever gotten or had moments where you've almost felt lonely or on an island where people see Cypress Point and they might be intimidated to reach out to you?
Not that I can remember. I guess, I try not to be standoffish. I will, fake a phone call on a salesperson every now and then, but
Yeah.
I think we've all done that. Nothing against our salespeople, they're great, but
Right, right.
it's a timing thing, So yeah, to be honest, I don't. I hope not. I hope I haven't given that perception to anybody. Always come up, say hello. That's fine, and it's like, I'm sorry, got to go.
Like I said, I mean, when someone gets to know you, and I think when people listen to this, they're going to realize, it's again, you're just incredibly humble, incredibly approachable, and always giving of your time, and we appreciate that. But yeah, it's
But
just one of those things, it's as I was a young person kind of starting out in association management, all that, you see these big name golf courses, and you just think, oh my gosh, that person's going to be so busy. They're not going to have time for me. They're going to blah, blah, blah. But again, I mean, I don't think it could be further from the case with you. And, I mean,
yeah,
has
it's
that been something you've come across? I mean, do you kind of see no matter mom and pop nine-hole course or Cypress Point, do you see a lot of similarities in superintendents when it comes to personalities?
I think so. I think we would hope they would be approachable, especially by other superintendents. I mean, sometimes maybe the general public coming in and seeing your logo and saying, "Hey, how can I get out there and play?" It's like, okay, we get that one gets a little old. But within our industry, our community, I would hope that wouldn't be the case. Because again, we all the old adage, you all put your pants on the same way, and you got to report to a membership. Remember. And so I guess I would hope not. Maybe there is, but I haven't really run across it. It's all been a pretty good group.
Yeah, and we've run across it many times on the show. Brian and I are trying to prepare for, different interviews and trying to learn the history of the course and different things. And then you get on the call and the guy's amazing or the person's amazing. And you're just like, oh, we can just sit here and chat about things. I didn't have to get all worried about who they were or if I was going to ask the right question or not. Like everybody's just so genuine, wants to help, wants to support. And kind of like Brian said, you go from a mom and pop shop where you're making however much money to the highest paid superintendents in our game. Everybody's kind of has that same mentality and the same charisma and just really wants to help. So it is really cool to hear.
You got
Yeah.
Mike, you got Mike or Kevin there making faces at you?
Uh, no, Mike's out, but Kevin just walked in. He was
Okay,
making
okay.
faces.
I thought I saw you giving a little head nod to one of
Yeah, no, he was just, I thought he was going to start throwing stuff at me,
yeah, nice. I
well, they
love
only let me out of the office on Tuesdays and Fridays. So,
okay.
otherwise, he would stay inside.
Well,
So
that
we've
was a
got,
question I was going to ask you because you talk a lot about that work-life balance. Is there something that you do to get away from the course and find some time?
you know what, again, to be straight, yeah, I mean, like to go, skiing a little bit when we can. We got to get out of town. I actually like working around in the yard, which is sometimes unusual for a superintendent.
Hmm.
But play a little golf, but got a horrendous golf game that I need to work on. Um, but again, with our not unique, but with our schedule, we kind of have a lot more free time than other guys do because of climate situations, let's say, where they would get more time off in this off season, right? But their season is just solid work, hours and hours and hours and hours. So we have a balance of the 364 that we have to deal with. So we get a lot of time away, on regular days, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you
No.
have time to do other things,
Hmm.
plenty of time to do other things, and it doesn't have to be packed into a specific period.
It's a great way to do it. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you look back on your career, Jeff, is there anything that you wish you would have done, or is there anything you would have changed?
Boy, that's always a good question. Not Not really. Maybe a little more traveling around as a younger person coming out of school. Go try the Southeast. It never worked down there. Uh, work in the Northeast. We worked in Minnesota, so I've only had Minnesota and California experiences. Go to the Rockies, and just because of the different climates. So probably again, that goes back to one of the original conversations about the students is go find these different areas, go try these different areas and see where you want to ultimately end up and get as much experience with southern grasses, and northern climates, and learn how to plow snow. I mean, all that
Yeah,
stuff. Uh,
big one.
but that it's not a regret. It might be just that if I could do it over, I'd probably do a little more of that. Go overseas, you know, your world is ahead of you, and you're going to get tied down with other, life issues. So, uh, that would probably be it. If I had to do it
Nice.
over.
What
So
uh what do you want your legacy to be, Jeff? You're getting ready to retire in March. What do you want your legacy to be?
I guess I've never really been big on a legacy, but were you a good father? Were you a good husband? Were you a good superintendent? And did you help people along the way? That's probably it.
It sounds like you
It's
can say
simple.
yes to all those questions.
I don't know. You'd have to ask my wife, but maybe
Fair enough.
maybe 3 out of 4. I
Maybe
might
three
be
out of
three out
four.
of four.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a tough
I
one
think
to
we're
win.
all in that
Yeah.
boat.
Yep.
No, she's you know what? Behind every good superintendent is a good spouse, a support group. So
100%.
it's not a one. Somebody's taking care of the fort while you're out here. So
Yeah, yeah.
they deserve as much credit as we do.
So along the lines then of what you want your legacy to be, then what are you most proud of over your career?
Those are always tough questions to answer. I think
Well, we're
just
here for the hard-hitting questions,
We
Jeff.
I know
are.
you are. I
Just
know you
really
are.
excited.
I think I'm most proud of that. It's been a balanced profession, at least for me. We've had family time. Wonderful wife, 2 great kids. Um, they listened to mom versus dad, so that's why they did so well. And
Nice. Humble guy.
yeah, and
Yes.
just a great group of guys that we've had come through here. And everything I've said before is that's plenty for me, you know. And
And I know how modest and humble you are, and you will never want to toot your horn. But for me to come in from the outside looking in and seeing all the guys that took the time to come and be a part of that event and celebrate you, I think that speaks volumes. So you've certainly been doing something right over the last 30 some years in your career. You've made an impact in people's lives, and you'll never tell anyone that, but I'm here to tell you that you have certainly done something very, very, very well.
yeah, well, that's very kind. It was a lot. It was a lot of fun to see a lot of the guys that have been here. It got a little hectic, so you didn't get to spend as much time as you wanted to, but it was great to
Yeah,
touch
you
base and
kept
see.
dodging me for an interview, but that's neither here
Yeah, I
nor
know.
there.
I didn't be doing it on purpose.
Busy week, busy week. I
Well,
get
another
it.
phone call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Invoices.
Yeah, that was the sales pitch there. Oh, gotta
Yeah.
go. So
So, Jeff,
anyway,
other than getting the golf game back in order, what's next for you on the horizon?
don't really know just yet. We might move back to Minnesota. Who knows what we're gonna do? Do something in the industry maybe.
Yeah,
There's a lot of, if you can help someone somewhere, maybe. I don't really know. Certainly, I don't want to try and tell some person how to grow his, work, manage his golf course. So, but project development or something, or somewhere you could help. I don't have any plans. How's that?
nice.
A little time
Nice.
off. Really want, travel, play some golf, and then see what comes up on the horizon. But there's no rush to jump into something else.
I know
Maybe a Walmart, maybe a Walmart greeter. I think
Hey,
that'd be
there you
great.
go.
you would be a fantastic Walmart greeter.
Nobody get
100%.
any shopping done.
No
No,
pressure, no
no.
pressure. It's like, just don't swear or do something dumb, and you're good to go.
I know you're hitting the speaking circuit. Is that something you hope to do a little more of? I know you're going out to the Pennsylvania Turfgrass Conference. You
Yeah,
ever
no,
going to do that?
I like sitting around a table with the guys with that, having a beer and doing that kind of chat. The public stuff is not my favorite. So this at least this way I get to hide behind the computer. But a little bit, but that's not necessarily a goal.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
For
it
sure.
certainly
Well, this has been an amazing hour, Jeff. We really can't thank you enough for your time today and getting to put out your story and talk about your course and stuff. We usually leave the floor to our guests for the last few minutes. If there's anything you want to talk about, it's wide open for you.
Um, no, I think just thanks to all the guys that have come through the program here and the ones to come for their efforts, because again, it's not a one-man job, and it's been a great group of people, fantastic crew. I have and a great membership. It's been a very good ride and very easy. And to my family for their support, and to you guys for giving me this opportunity. And I've been very fortunate. Been a fantastic career at here, and look forward to the future.
Boom.
so. Yeah.
That's all she wrote.
Drop the mic.
You know what I think? What's probably made you successful, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it feels like you subscribe firmly to the KISS method, and that has served you very well over the years.
I would agree to that. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. It's grass, okay? It's just grass, okay? We can manage it.
Love
So
it. I love
yeah.
it. That's awesome. Well, Jeff, this has been great. Can't thank you
Okay.
enough for your time. Can't thank you enough for your time today and also in the past. And you're always a very gracious host, and it's always an honor to be able to spend a little bit of time with you. It's been great getting to know you a little more
Well, and
over
that's
the
very
years.
kind. Thank you guys for everything. Say hi to Dad, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. We're hoping to see him on Sunday, so
Perfect.
definitely be sure to say
Perfect. Tell
hi.
him I said hello, and thanks, guys. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yep.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll let you go.
Okay, no problem. Thanks.
All right,
All
take
right,
care.
take care.
Take care.
The Jeff Markow,
Unreal.
right? I mean, just as humble, laid back as they come. Just happens to work at one of the top golf courses in the world.
Yeah, we can put him on the list of guys that I over prepared to talk to. We have all this stuff written down, and he's just a regular guy.
Yeah,
He's like, I don't really care. I just want to hang out and talk to you guys. Like this is
yeah,
so great.
that's it.
Oh.
Yeah, the good Midwestern roots,
Mhm.
really shine through, right?
Yeah, and now they're gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do. They have a superintendent for 32 years, and unfortunately, he moves on. And I would assume he'd be the kind of guy that would stick around to kind of help the transition, right?
Yeah, I think they do have some plans in place there for that, but who knows? It's that's one subject I didn't want to bring up because,
No, yeah,
he's going to be, it sounds like, kind of hands off in that process, and he's got his ideas of what he wants to do, but like he said, know who writes the checks, and they're going to
yep.
go the direction they want to go in.
hmm That's exactly it. There's so much change in our industry right now. So for somebody who's worked that long, you just kind of got to put your hands up and say, hey, I've done what I got to do, and I've like you said, left my legacy here, and you guys do what you can with the future of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, but no, just incredibly grateful, and maybe I'm the only one. I love asking that supermodel question because I know I was so nervous to reach out to him the first time I was heading that way. And from the moment you step foot on that property and the moment you shake Jeff's hand, like you're immediately put at ease. That's just we come across that time and time again in this industry where you work something up, like you said, you work something up in your mind, and um, then again, just like I said, immediately put at ease.
Yeah.
It's the best thing too, he keeps everything simple, right? And that's why I said at the end, it's just keep it simple, stupid. That's it.
hmm
You're gonna get yourself into trouble if you try to overcomplicate things. Just boil it down to its, bare bones and get the job done.
Was it Scott Furlong on here? He said, when you don't know what to do, do nothing. And usually
Yeah,
that
I
ends
think
up being
so.
the right way to go.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love that.
Exactly. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and
Brilliant.
and you can go back to a lot of different things in your life if you just go back and have a simple structure and just don't push yourself too hard. He always was saying there's no race. There's not like no one's holding a gun to our head here. We just take our time, get through this, and keep it simple. And I think that that works out well, especially at a course where they don't have to spray for a ton of different stuff. They don't have the pressure of all the different diseases and all the different bugs, and they let a lot of the stuff kind of grow wild. So
Yeah.
like he said, those guys in the East Coast work really hard. I think they just have more to deal with, and
Yeah.
he's working at this iconic golf course. Is working so hard to keep it the way that it was and respect the members' wishes, but at the same time, he doesn't want to grind his staff 90 hours a week where we're working all year. So it's really trying to find that balance. And he produces an amazing golf course. He has people that keep coming back to work for him. He doesn't seem like he puts too much pressure on himself. So it's sounds like a really good situation. Very healthy, workplace.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is. And there's that attitude, that personality that you just engaged with for the last hour is how every single person on the staff is.
Yeah.
Uh, it's, when I'm out there and I'm doing video work or whatever, cruising around the golf course, pull into the maintenance shop and immediately I've got all 25 guys, hey, how you doing? Welcome, great to see you. They'll stop and chat with you. Kevin and Mike, his assistants are the same way as all of his, second assistants, AITs, whatever you want to call them, interns. They're all that exact same way. And that's a culture that's created from the top that, we're lucky to be here. We're lucky to do what we do. We're here to have fun. We're here to enjoy one another. Um, and you get that vibe immediately. It's just ingrained in everyone on that property.
Yeah, he's just a natural leader, right? People just want
Yep.
to follow and act like him. And sometimes those are the best leaders. They don't really need to say a whole lot. They just follow me, and away we
Yep.
go. And the
Yep.
fact that they have that many staff that keep coming back, that's such a great sign.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. You'll go through it and be like, all right, so that's the grandfather, that's the grandfather's son, that's the grandson. It's like And then that's the cousin, that's the cousin, that's the uncle. That's, it's just what?
Yeah. And
It's awesome.
I heard that he cross-trained them to do everything too. So they all do all the different jobs. And I guess like he switches them every couple months and stuff too. So
Yeah.
it sounds like
Yeah.
a fun place to work.
Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, he treats his guys really well. And I think they had one guy start a couple months maybe before the Walker Cup. And again, he's a relative of someone that's already been there, but then their, least tenured employee for a while was like 8 years.
Yeah.
They've got guys on staff that have been there longer than Jeff, I
Right.
think. So people tend to stay around. It says a lot.
That's what you want. Yeah. That says
Yeah.
so much for your membership. Like that's so
Yep.
cool.
Yep. Yep. Really good. Really
Um,
good.
I wrote a
Good
couple
interview.
things down. Did you see they're having to switch the tournament, the Century Tournament of Champions? Kahlua?
Kapalua? No, I didn't.
Yeah, something happened. Be the floods or something like that.
Well, they're so high up. I mean, I would maybe mudslides or something.
Yeah, there's something Mother Nature related, and
Huh.
they've had to push the tournament, or they're going to move the tournament even. So that's
Oh,
kind of
I'll have to
crazy
check that
because
out.
it's always the kind of not kickoff of the year, but it's always the first one in January where all
Yeah.
the winners and stuff get to go and play. So it's sort of a little taste of golf, and
It's when the big boys come back to tour.
yeah, yeah. So it is a big one, and it's a beautiful, beautiful
Oh yeah.
golf course. Like some of the shots, some of the videos we've posted, some of the pictures that come in from there, it's just gorgeous. And
Yeah.
we're always buried in 10 feet of snow at that point. So
Yeah,
it's kind of a
I have a
cool
buddy
taste.
that I have a buddy that works for PGA Tour Radio, and he goes out there and he covers the first two events in Hawaii, and he's
Yeah.
always told me like it's the most beautiful place you'll ever see,
It'd be a
and the
cool
golf
trip to
course is
do.
really good.
Yeah, like bookend the trip with both tournaments and then do some traveling and some golf and stuff in the middle. It'd be a fun trip.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that one they're gonna have to figure something else out. Like, do they keep it in Hawaii or do they move it back to California or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, California would probably be an easy solution if there's nothing on the island that can accommodate them.
Hmm.
There's so many courses in California that don't necessarily need, the year to prep for some sort of tournament. And then I don't know if is it still a limited field? I can't remember if it's a limited field.
Yeah, it's only like the top like 30, not top 30,
Is
but
it?
30 guys that won events or something like
Okay, yeah.
that.
So that makes things a little easier. I couldn't remember if they changed that or not, but so there, you've got certainly reduced infrastructure and you've got a little more time to get the course ready for people and stuff like that.
Did you watch the Charlie Sheen documentary yet?
I did. That was good, huh?
Crazy. Guy, how is he still alive, man?
I don't
Like,
know, man. I don't know.
yeah, we watched that one the other day, and then we watched the cyberbullying one.
Yeah, I saw that one too with the mom.
That's messed
That,
up, bro. That's one of the
that
most
was
messed up stories I've
brutal.
ever heard of.
I watched that on a flight home the other day, and yeah, I was like, my mind was blown. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
be kidding me.
Did you know the story? Did you know it was the
No.
mom before? Oh man.
Uh-uh. Uh-uh.
Because like we heard about the story, we read the story before we're actually watching the documentary, and we couldn't believe the mom was actually interviewed in the documentary.
Well, that's what threw me off. So no, I didn't really know about it, but I think I had somewhere, in the days before I watched it, had heard like something about you can't believe it was the mom. And I turned and I started watching. I'm like, oh, there's no way it was the mom. Like she's sitting here talking about this stuff. There's no way.
Yeah. She,
Spoiler alert. We probably, if this is going into the podcast, spoiler alert for I want to add that at the beginning.
yeah, oh well. Well, I mean,
Freaking
most
nuts.
most people should have known the story beforehand going in, and I think most people have seen it now or watched
Probably.
clips of it because that's one of the most messed up stories ever. And then for the daughter to be like, you know what, like I really want to get my relationship back with my mom and stuff. Like,
Well, I sat there and just watched the whole sequence when they came in to question her and arrest her ultimately when they found out it was her. And the daughter's sitting there and she's still hugging the mom and all that. Like if I were in her shoes, I would have been flipping out on
yeah,
my mom. Like that, like for her to just sit there and be okay with her mom holding her and trying to explain it away. I'm like, dude, like get away.
crazy, craziness.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on the terminal list right now, the second season. I can't remember what it's called. It's not called Terminal List, but it's basically the continuation of Terminal List. We're watching that.
Nice,
It's
nice.
a good
I don't know
one.
if we have that one up here. We just started
On
Black Rabbit,
Amazon.
Amazon. Okay.
Yeah, Black Rabbit's on our list that we want to
I think it
get
just started
going.
yesterday or 2 days
Did it?
ago. But yeah,
Nice. Another
Jason
Jason
Bateman,
Bateman
he
deal.
plays it's Jason Bateman and Jude Law. And
Yeah.
I kind of read the premise of the story, and there's like the one, straight and narrow brother, and then there's one kind of wild brother. I thought
Yeah.
Bateman was going to be the straight and narrow, and Jude Law would be the crazy guy, and it's flipped. So Bateman's playing like the big beard and everything. It's so
Oh,
good.
jeez, that's awesome.
Yeah, so good. He comes on the screen. My wife goes, "Oh my God, this guy!" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's why we're watching the show." Like,
No, I got to start catching up on some shows. I feel like there's a bunch of them that have just recently been released, so I got to identify the ones I'm able to watch on my own and the ones I
mhm.
have to save to watch with my wife.
I've always been a big shows and movies guy. The best shows come out when school goes back, right? Right when school starts again, that's when some of the best shows get dropped. And
Yeah.
the best movies are always around Christmas. So those are
Yeah.
your two slots to really watch different things. So
Yeah. No,
probably
you're
has a
right.
lot to do with the award shows and seasons and stuff too. But
Good. Good.
yeah.
All right, man.
All
We'll
right, buddy.
catch you soon. Enjoy your weekend.
You too. Have a good
All
one.
right.
That is going to do it for another week. Thank you so much to Jeff Markow for lending us a little bit of his time through this busy year. We are going to be back next week with another one, and we actually have a little special announcement. Turf Today is going to be having its first live show. That is coming up sometime in the next couple months, and I think next week we have some more news about that. Big things in the pipeline for the boys. All right, keep them sharp. Here's some California vibes for you.
That I